You know, success at living is an art. Many think that there is going to be some kind of a formula that I can find that's going to make it all work out. And it's true, sometimes formulas are helpful. But ultimately, no formula is going to answer the particular challenges of life that you and I experience. In today's gospel, Jesus and the disciples have a vision. And from this vision that they had, we can learn much. When we think a vision, of course, sometimes we think of a specter or voices or something like that, but that's only one kind of vision. The visions we are in need of in this very scary world. Contemplation. In contemplation, the present is transformed and the future is created. So if you'd like to say after me, my life benefits by developing contemplative prayer. My life benefits by developing contemplative prayer. How do we achieve this very powerful encounter with God? How does one use new eyes to look at the circumstances of one's life? The short answer to that, of course, from the gospel today, is you've got to find your mountaintop. And what is a mountaintop? It is entering into your heart in a way that you can perceive the gracious mystery, the presence of the Father who dwells within. This is contemplative prayer. Peter, James, and John went with Jesus to the mountaintop, not because 2,000 feet are closer to God than sea level, but because it gave them an opportunity to avoid the prevailing consciousness and demands being made on them. Contemplation is nothing more than thinking in the presence of God. It's not flashing lights and smoke and rapture. It is not even a particularly holy or a dramatic feeling. It's a reflection of awareness of the ever-present Spirit of God's love. Some people can contemplate while they drive. I don't advise this. Some people get carried away and they're not very good drivers. Priests are not that great at drivers sometimes. Maybe it's because they're contemplating. I don't, but maybe what we need is to be open to prayer on maybe our Sunday Mass, or church. This beautiful place we have here is open most of the time for us. Every church belongs to you as much as it belongs to the bishop or to the pope. It is dedicated holy space, a way. It is a potential mountaintop. Maybe you need a retreat. It's a space away. Maybe you need just to close the door and sit. So, would you like to say after me? My task is to identify my mountaintop where I may safely retreat. My task is to identify my mountaintop where I may safely retreat. So what will you find on your mountaintop? First of all, don't be afraid of the silence. Most of us have a horror vacui, or fear of spaces. Tolerating the silence is a prerequisite for entering and hearing the voice of God. In silence, like Peter and James and John, We sit with Moses and Elijah, representing the law and the prophets, and the saints, for this is where they found an encounter with God. We will hear the voice of the gracious mystery speaking to us. This is my beloved Son, my Holy One, Jesus. Most people think that contemplative is for a very few. I've got to tell you that many years ago, I was a monk for 15 years, and I lived with saints. I studied spirituality and the history of Christianity. The fact is, we are all capable of contemplative prayer. In fact, we have more of a potential, and we do also have the responsibility. There are things in this world which the rich and the famous and the powerful can do, and we can't. But prayer is not one of them. Prayer is available to each of us within the very essence of the context of our lives. And how does this mountaintop lead to a more successful life? You see, most of us live our lives in a back and forth between tedium and terror, especially these days. Same old, and then something we can't handle. Transformation is the ability to look at one's existence with new eyes. This generates new spring in our step, new purpose, vitality, and excitement. This is the transforming power of faith. It enables me to blossom where I am planted. How can we be sincere and say, Master, it is good for us to be here in Colombia, here in this job that you have, in this home, in this family, with these new people? We need the vision. If you'd say after me, my vision transforms the present and creates the future. My vision transforms the present and creates the future. The prevailing culture in which we live is right today, I think, in some ways very impoverished and unbalanced. We need more developed and different concept of our role as a family on planet Earth. And we find this through the wonderful possibility and potentials of the mountaintop. One can find the moral depth which enables us not to be manipulated by fear. Our contemplation gives one a tailored spiritual compass, without which we're just like corks bobbing around in the water, pushed by every little wave that comes by. Our society desperately needs rescue from the prevailing attitudes of aggression, accumulation, and control. Let me sing the songs of a nation, and I care not who write its laws. The power of a vision had Martin Luther King Jr. on the night before his assassination wrote in 1968, I have been on the mountaintop, and I have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. And King's non-violent vision of racial harmony, justice, and tolerance for our country will stand as a result of his trip to the mountaintop. It was a vision that transcended and continues to transform our life. We are all one of us, each have the potential for a profound and transformative experience of the inner vision and encounter God, which transforms our present and will create our future. My prayer is that each of us take individual responsibility of identifying our personal mountaintop and have the depth and courage to go there often. And when my encounter, which is the result of our lives, which are a vibrant reflection of God's love and God's purpose as we live this out.